Welcome to Crimson Guitars, welcome to my home studio, and welcome to the Sunday evening live stream. This is episode 69 of Luthiers Question Time with me, Ben Crowe, from Crimson Guitars. It is a pleasure to be here with you. We have got a bunch of you with us this evening. Bill, Tutankhamun, Anthony, Cunliffe, Adam to Remember, Robert R, Jeff's Guitars, Creever is in the background, Spike's Frugal Fixer and Guitar Shop. I'm fairly sure that is yet another YouTube channel name change. I'm sure we're nearing a dozen there for that. David Harris, how are you? Garage Master Guitars, JS Trucking and Guitars. We're all here, and it's gonna be a good evening. Now, well, this is a live stream on YouTube. It is then turned into a podcast. And if you fancy me in your ear holes, then check that out. It's edited down. It's just the funniest or the most elucidating questions and comments put in there. But yeah, check it out wherever you get your podcasts. Sun Bass is in. Alrighty. Now, a lot of the usual folks and then a few more, which is great. Rabnox, how you doing? Okay, so I have got a live stream going on the main channel tomorrow, and I am going to be building in one day a full guitar. I've done it before. I'm sure I can do it again. And I figured out that the reason why I've not been able to do that recently is purely down to preparation and forethought and planning, and I like living life by the seat of my pants. I really, really do. But this time I've been doing some of that preparation. Now, one of those things is blimey, Ben, take us out to dinner first at least. I thought that in the ear holes thing would trigger somebody. It would be an absolute pleasure to take you out to dinner at Adam to Remember. Now, house cleaning first. Super chats 100% will get answered, and the rest of it I will try. I can go back and look and see where a super chat is, and I will definitely answer those questions. And in fact, we've just got one come through from Luther Build. Says, "Hey Ben, what episode of Question Time we on?" 69. It's a good number. It's a very, very good number. Now, in preparation for tomorrow, I have been playing around with many, many, many things. Part of it is I've set up a different system in the background. You can't quite see that, but we've now got a little mixing desk. And where are we? That's camera 3. So there's now a separate microphone just hanging from the ceiling there, a little bit precariously, for Talitha and Mrs. Bunn and anybody else. Tam is going to be showing up in tomorrow's build if it stays on long enough. And that one, using the mixing desk, they will be able to reduce the volume and therefore reduce sniffling and all that jazz. So yeah, it's all good. Now I'm going to need you guys to give me a little bit of info on what you think on the audio. Now, that is me turning off my lapel mic. I've also got... Come on then, let's have a quick look. So, here we go. Up in the ceiling, I've got the Spirit from Aston Mics. That is... it's the one we used to do on the live streams. Just a little Yamaha mixing desk, which is pretty cool, and then super cheap Amazon special little microphone that's actually working quite well. But for the live stream, I also have the Kemper set up, and I think it's going to work fine. Before we do anything for tomorrow, though, I would very much like to ask you guys, what do you think of the sound? So, better with the lapel mic, of course, but you can still hear me. Okay, Josh Shoemaker says, anyone know if the supposed one-day build, where's the faith? Let's get the lapel back on. Raffle is restricted to the UK. I'm in the US and I would like to enter. It is 100% worldwide. The only thing is you will have to cover shipping wherever you are in the world. Seeing as this one is entirely for charity, yeah, we've made that decision because some of it could be cool. Chip Prue likes a shirt. It was a gift from one of you guys and I absolutely love it. Adams remembers ogling the Aston Spirit. It is a very, very, very nice microphone and utterly wasted on me. Yes. Okay, so the audio's fine. Okay, fantastic. Now, what I would like to do is ask you guys if the Kemper is coming through okay, and then once we've done that, we'll crack on to your questions and comments. JS Trucking and Guitar says, well, at least after you've added the mixing setup, your shop looks a little bit more organized. Yeah. Oh, so no, that's the other thing. Let me just, I was supposed to take the entire weekend off and do absolutely nothing so that tomorrow I've got a fighting chance of actually doing this build properly and effectively. What I ended up doing was spending basically the whole weekend in here setting everything up and moving things. So the pillar drill used to be in that far corner and behind a bunch of stuff. I need the pillar drill tomorrow, so that's been moved. The wood turning lathe, the record power coronet, that has moved. Now Tam and Mrs. Bunn, etc., have got room to actually sit with some leg room. Can you believe it? I've also set up an extraction system with it's got the IVAC, which automatically turns the extractor on when you have a tool plugged into it. And that now works with both the work center here and my router and sander, which are over in the back now. I can plug those in and everything works. The only thing that we've got, I'm not sure if you'll be able to see, is that back corner down there is just full of lots of wood. So I am going to be expanding out a further 8 feet out that way across the full length of the workshop, so that yeah, I've got room for a timber store and an office area. So this is short term, but yeah, I'm really rather happy. In fact, I'm sort of planning on sitting down for the rest of this stream once I've tested, see if this guitar sounds okay. Now, the live stream tomorrow, Vulcan Essence coming with a super chat says, hi Ben, would you mind defining what one day means in your universe? Cheers. P.S. Thought it was supposed to go down today. It was. I needed to rest and then realised I actually needed to figure this out. All right, Max, I need to tilt the mic down. Okay. Omni is O. Okay, cool. I can change. I think we're already on that one. Yes. Oh no, there we go. Omni. Fine. So anyway, that mic is mainly there just to act as a backup, and it's all good. So the live stream tomorrow, it is going to be a one-day build. We designed the guitar in a live stream the other day. I know what I'm building. I've got all of the materials, all of the pickups. Now, Mark Jennings, who was trying to distract me on WhatsApp, has sent me a chrome covered set of the same pickups, and he is donating them gratis for the cause. And the cause is the Ukraine crisis that is currently going on. Every single penny that we raise, the profit after fees and all that nonsense, from both the super chats and the entire raffle system after fees is going to the British Red Cross DEC Ukraine appeal, and that means that the UK government will double whatever we manage to raise. They've set it at 20 million, so I don't think we'll hit that. I also think that's in aggregate, but I don't think we've raised that much yet. So essentially, whatever we manage to raise tomorrow will be doubled by the UK government, and then we'll be going to the Red Cross, who are helping people in and around the Ukraine. So yeah, that's what it's about. I'd originally said that I was going to split it half and half, and because I had already planned to do a one-day build, and I had uses for that money, but this is far more important than that. So there we go. Anyway, now, would I mind defining what one day means in my universe? Normally one day, but I am also not very good at cutting corners. Now this is a problem because we're trying to develop a sort of 1,000 to 1,200 quid guitar to retail at Crimson. So that is going to be fun. Okay, now let's turn that all the way down. Just out of interest, I would like you to tell me what this sounds like. Now, the issue I've got is that I cannot, there's a microphone there. I can't set up headphones into the Atom Mini Pro. It doesn't have headphones. The only way I can do that is by putting headphones on the monitor, and I don't have a headphone input on that monitor. Okay, Tommy Transplant's coming with a super chat, says, I have total faith that you're going to finish the build tomorrow, Ben. Don't forget to have fun. Question, will epoxy fill on moist wood? Would an epoxy fill on moist wood ruin it or stabilise it? Basically, it wouldn't work. Moist wood is still going to continue drying, and as such will shrink, while the epoxy probably won't. So either the epoxy is going to stay stuck, which I'm not too sure about, and will deform and crater and have all sorts of things going wrong, or it would just delaminate. Honestly, using wood that isn't dry enough and ready to go is never a good thing. Okay, so currently what I've got is I've got my lapel mic going into the Atom Mini. Eventually, I want to have that running into the mixing disc so that they can control it down there, which will be fun. And then I've got this baby plugged in here. Whoa, hold on. I'm messing up. I'm pushing the wrong thing. See, what I should have done is grab the headphones that are plugged into the mixing disc, but they're all the way over there. So anyway, tell me how that sounds, if the volume is enough, and I'm going to grab the headphones. And then after that, it's back to normal programming, if there is such a thing. Crikey. Yeah, sound of the Kemper is really quiet and roomy. That is pretty much what I thought, looking at that. Yep, come on. I'll leave the guitar down there. It is plugged into the main console, yes. And I am 100% not. I'm not very good at this system yet. Where are we? see. This is so professional, isn't it? What, we've got 123 people watching me mess around. Alright. Cool. Okay, there we go. I'm going to leave that there. Turn that baby off and have a play tomorrow morning to find the sounds that I actually want to show. And we're going to go from there. So, back to normal, back to the stream as it is supposed to be done. We have some questions here, I think, via Discord. And here is a question from me about multi-laminate necks. Hi Ben, how much veneer between the strips of lumber is too much? If I were to glue up a neck blank with strips of Nara and Beech and insert 3 veneers, rosewood, camphor, rosewood, between each strip of timber, would that be going overboard? Would it affect the overall strength of the neck? Would it perhaps be better to insert the veneers just between the middle 3 strips of timber? Basically, veneer is real wood. It's wood and it's fine. And the addition of an extra glue joint actually adds to the strength of the instrument. And as such, having 3 veneers rather than 1 in between each, it's entirely down to you and entirely down to what you like the look of. It will add strength. The glue joint is stronger than the timber in almost every single circumstance, unless you use, unless you use epoxy on wetwood. Okay. So, Stephen's asking if I'm technically now a DJ. You could never imagine me in a club. Wow. I mean, okay, fair enough. Okay, so I need to turn the Kemper up by about 10%. What I'll do, I'm going to actually... So, I set all of this up today because I had not had all of the cables arrive. And by the time I'd set up this system, I already had 2 live streams scheduled. I learned to our cost a few months ago that you can't then run a test stream while you've got another one scheduled, because that just utterly screws everything up. The scheduled one doesn't work anymore, etc, etc, etc. So now that I'm doing this, I can run test stream tomorrow, I can have headphones into the computer, and I can essentially do this properly. But at least we are at a point where we don't have horrific noises like we did last time. So yeah, I'm very, very much looking forward to all of this. I really am. It's going to be amazing. Okay. Okay. Mark, you're hilarious. All right, query me, people. I need questions, or I'm not going to be able to keep going for much longer. The Big Unit, how are you? Says, could one make a neck from veneers alone? Yes, emphatically, 100%. I should have mentioned this while answering the last question. Have a look at Martin and their multi-laminate necks. I'm not sure what they call them, but essentially they look like plywood because they are plywood. They're just made out of better quality or better cuts of wood than your average ply. And the entire neck is a multi-laminate. And it's wonderful. So the guitar can stay there. Let's just unplug it for now, and I won't worry about it. Okay, so Anthony Cunliffe says, you're going all crackly, Ben. Might have been when you put the guitar on. You won't see this until after Discord, and the problem could have sorted itself out. So I'm assuming that was when I had the strap over my lapel here. And this is why I sort of do think that having the Aston above me is probably a better idea, Now that I have all of this going on, I'm thinking about moving it a bit closer and playing, but we'll see. Joe Thornhill says, question, why bother selling or buying water stains in a full bottle with no water when you have the shots? And why is it ox blood and not just another animal blood or just crimson red? Lol. One, because you can buy the shots, but it is the amount of people who buy this want exactly this colour. Okay, and they want to be able to just pour the water in and know exactly where it is. Now, personally, I love the look of having all of these stains behind me with all their labels on and all of that jazz. So that basically, yeah, we're still going to do the shots. In fact, I've got the proof sheets here for the pastel stain shots and the vibrant shots, which are going to be coming out soon. Yeah, there. I think there was a second question on that as well. But for some reason, I can't see it. Oh, hold on, there we go. Huh. Where did that question go? Or was it not a super chat? Okay, Leon says, question, how do you do fretboard inlays like you have in that Raw series? So the inlays on here are hollow dot inlays and we don't remove the center of the dots out. So essentially these are done on a CNC machine using a 0.5mm or 0.6mm cutter, and then you just put the tube over it, glue it in place, and you're done. It can be done by hand, the same cutter in a small router or a Dremel on a router base. You can do it. Another option is to take a piece of tubing the same size, cut teeth into it, and very carefully use that to drill the circumference of the hole. Now, the only way to do that accurately is to have some sort of a metal V-block or guide bush or something the right size that is clamped in place. Otherwise it will wander everywhere. It's not an easy thing. Alrighty. Chip Prue says the more you do today is stuff you don't have to do tomorrow. That's a very good point. Thank you very much. Okay. Spike's Frugal Fixer and Guitar Shop says, I sent you and Tom an email to office. Yep, okay, cool. After I covered the build. Name changes are ADHD filmed. Yeah, fueled. Yeah. Luther Build says, my Ggbo is going to be 17-piece multi-laminate. Wheelchair Doug always loved the copper rod guitars. Me do too. I do too. This one's a little bit... I don't know, we had two like this with a sort of half-burnt finish that the production team did, and neither of them have sold. Nobody wants them. So I'm going to do something to this one and see what happens. I'm not sure. The big unit says, did you see the Flash ES335 my friend built? I sent the pics to the stream email. I have not. I've seen that it's there, but the only time I actually turned my computer on in the last week was to finally deal with that VAT return. And that is done and dusted and sorted and finished, and it had the big words final VAT return on it. So yeah, that intensely stressful period of my life is now behind me. George Davis is saying, did you invite April Wilkerson to enter Ggbo? We have not, although I will be talking to her at Maker Central to see if she fancies doing it. Now, last time I spoke to her, when she was down building a guitar with us, she said, and I quote, I never need to build a guitar again in my life. This is perfect and great and awesome. And but we'll see. Peter Israelson says, hi Ben, what would you best recommend as a substitute for a bandsaw when rough cutting the outlines of a guitar body? I'm building a guitar in the living room of my apartment. Yeah, alrighty. A handheld jigsaw is probably your best bet. You can get some really good quality blades for it. You can even get longer than average blades. Go slow, go careful, and you should be okay. You can even get battery powered ones, but yeah, I would say get the best jigsaw that you can. That is an option. Another option is a scroll saw. Hegner are absolutely the best. They're relatively large, but will fit into a cupboard. And then you just go down the pecking order. Just a standard hardpoint handsaw, cutting off the corners, can be done, and you know, a router will go the rest of the way. Beth McKellar. Hey Beth, how are you? Says, just remember tomorrow, lots of coffee, lots of fun and snacks as needed. Also, have fun, darling. Paul needs wife. I thought that, yeah, I thought that was you. It's weird. I'm starting to be better at remembering people's names. I'm gonna have to start taking notes at some point, but it's cool. Alrighty. Oh, there we go. And why is it oxblood and not just another animal blood or just crimson red? So we've got crimson red in the other stains, and oxblood. I personally wanted to go for a different name entirely. I don't like the connotations, but I was overruled. And one of the Management 101, if it's not really that important, let the people who work for you have a win every now and then. So, and this is a perfect case in point. I can't even remember what I wanted to call it, so it really wasn't that important. Okay. KZ McDermott says, tips for hand sawing fret slots for a multi-scale fretboard specifically. I'm sure I'll need my own live stream. once I start Ggbo build. Lol. Cheers. Alright, Casey. So, honestly, there is no difference whatsoever in between hand sawing standard frets and multi-laminate frets. The same tips apply, and if you are not using a jig, and obviously you're not, because as it currently stands, these things only work for standard fretboards, although I do have a design that I would like to do that would work for multi-scales. You need to do it after you've cut the radius. Cutting a perfectly straight line in a very wide fretboard while it is flat is difficult. The saw wants to wander, whereas on a radius you're cutting just the high point and you move the saw. It's much easier to work, and also you do want the fret slot to match the radius of the fretboard so you don't have giant holes underneath the frets. Now, doing that, yeah, go back and watch pretty much any video I've made where I've hand cut the slots, and go from there. Now, or watch tomorrow, because I'm going to be hand cutting the fret slots for the baritone build tomorrow, and it's probably going to be somewhere around 1 or 2 o'clock, I'd say, UK time. And because I don't have templates for that, I don't have a 28 inch. It's long template. JS Trucking. Very good point, JS Trucking. Says, honestly, 1 day for you is equal to 1 year on Pluto. I think, yeah, I'm going to stop promising, but I'm also, when I do promise, I need to make sure that when I do say, hey, I'm going to do this in 12 hours, I actually plan ahead. And in this case, I just didn't. I decided. It was 2 mutually exclusive things, the Boba Fett build. You cannot have a guitar that's designed with a bunch of people by committee and do the thing quickly. It's impossible. It took us 3 hours to design it, of day 1 of a 1 day build. But anyway, we're getting there. Alrighty. But yeah, the big unit, I'll get back to you soon. Doom, doom, doom. I am going to sit down. Let's do that. I'm going to move over. And is camera 3... What does camera 3 look like? I think that looks fine. I really am already absolutely broken. It's crazy. Anthony Cunliffe says half the reason it might not be selling is because for the same price one could go on a 2-week course and potentially meet you at some point too. Yeah, I mean, meeting me is not the most... anyway, yeah, this is the thing. Alright, so am I sitting down? I'm now watching myself live on a screen while talking to you. It's intensely freaky. Yeah. Woohoo! That works. Okay, cool beans. Now, Matt Lang says 1 or 2 o'clock on which day? You see, all of this is just... I'm going to have to rebel and absolutely kill it. So, we'll see. Federico Cipolla says this may be... I don't get that word, I don't know. But I built a hollow body guitar out of sheet metal and I'm looking for a way to finish it in a creative way. Any ideas? Okay, so it depends on the metal, but there are various metal blacking solutions, gun blacking, things that can work on making a really cool metallic black finish. Obviously hitting with a spray can or something like that is not necessarily fun. If it is entirely hollow and you're not worried about the joints, if it's all welded, then you can use heat itself, a blowtorch, etc., to create interesting blued finishes and stuff. The problem is that does tend to dissolve or rub away, so you would have to spray it with a sealant coat of lacquer of some sort. Other than that, you could use machine turning, engine turning, where you abrade circles in, overlapping. It's done on the back of watches, among other things. I've got high-end watches and roadside cafes in my in the back of my head here. So there we go. Inception, yeah. Big Unit's asking me if I'm going to have to climb over to Letha to get to the drill press. I'm just going to have to kick her out the way. So yeah, having the drill press here, my only other option was to have it here at the moment, and that is just not, it's not feasible. So yeah, when it comes to using the drill press, we'll have the cameras off here, and basically whoever's on the computer will just have to scoot off for a little bit, which is fine. Matt Lang says, I've been crawling around our attic installing boards. I can't stand up either. I tell you, there was a bunch of wood turning wood in this corner, and it took about half an hour just to, on my knees, get it all out and moved and stuff, and yeah, wasn't fun. Alright, Tia Buxton. This is a good question. When you measure out a multi-scale fretboard, how do you work out the angle of each fret and ensure the thing will actually play in tune? Okay, so the first thing you do is figure out where the parallel fret is going to be. And on a guitar, that's generally 7 to 9, somewhere around about there. You draw that fret first. You say, okay, fine. And this is where you start on the entire guitar design. You draw your center line, and you say, this is my fret that's... It's not parallel, is it? Horizontal? 90 degrees to the center line, yo. I have got a... Yeah. Yeah, anyway, it is what it is. Mental block on that one damn word. Okay. Do that, and then essentially you draw from there. You work out where your nut is going to be roughly, all right, and you work out where your final fret is going to be roughly. It's going to be the length rather than the width, all right. At that point, and where your bridge is going to be, and what you need to really do, forget the nut and bridge. From there, you can work out the width, and then you'll be able to draw out exactly where the strings are going to go. And once you've got the strings drawn out, you then place your ruler on the 7th fret, for example, and work out from there, marking where the frets are along that string. It's actually quite difficult to picture in my head, but I've done a couple of multi-scales. The Nebula is probably the most recent. Maybe Boba Fett, although I think that was pre-cut. I don't know. Nebula. Go and check what I did with Nebula, because I marked it out by hand and I walked through the whole process in that video. Check that out then. Casey McDermott, thank you very much. Yeah, Boba Fett turned out better not being a one-day build. I absolutely agree. I just can't. I don't like cutting corners, and even tomorrow I'm not going to be cutting many corners. But anyway. Okay, Jay and Bob 42. Can anyone suggest a cheap wood I could use to practice guitar building? I'd love to build one that isn't from MDF, I know, but I can't afford the gorgeous wood available. Frankly, I think MDF is probably more expensive than some woods that are perfectly fine and wouldn't be considered cheap woods for guitar building. Poplar, for example, is relatively inexpensive. You can go into any timber place that sells wood to builders merchants, things like that, and they'll have sapele or something like that. And for a piece big enough to do a body, you're probably talking 50 to 60 pounds, I think. You can use pine as long as you don't expect it to have a dent-free finish ever. It's very soft and actually much more difficult to work because it's so soft. But yeah, almost any wood can be used to make a guitar. Yeah. Almost any wood can be used to make a functional guitar, too. Bulgarian evolution, haha, sitting that low. Ben looks like he's altitudinally challenged. I like it. I am, but yeah. Should I change? I'm going to have to change the angle now. Now I'm more self-conscious. You. Funny guy. Okay, everybody who's getting motion sickness, that is entirely Bulgarian evolution's fault. Got it? How's that? That looks a little bit better. Hi. This microphone keeps on dropping. I'm going to put it on the table and then step away from it later, and it's going to drop even more. But it's all fun and games. Okay. PS Guardian, thank you very much for your super chat. Says, glad to hear full stain line will be available in shots soon. I won't be on tomorrow's full stream due to big bosses being in town. Here's a coffee on me. Thank you very much. I will need the coffee and a hell of a lot of it, I tell you. But yes, the stream will be live. the stream will be live forever, and there will also be a super edit. So we're doing this on Monday, a week tomorrow. There should be an edit. There should be a super edit, and yeah, that's going to be very good. Sweet Tea Guitars, hey man, how you doing? Sorry I'm late. I was putting your teachings to use. That is the best excuse there is. No, it's one of many, many, many excuses that would absolutely suffice. Thank you for coming in any case. I've reached the finished stage on the giveaway build. I need to check that out. Saturn Osmo Poly X. I will eventually use Crimson Oil, but Osmo is expensive and has to be used. That is a fair point. I've got... I have worked my way through various things that have either bought or have been given, or have just appeared in my workshop through Vintage Tool Shop or whatever, and it's like, I'm not going to throw that away. I don't know anybody who wants it. I'm just going to use it, and there we go. 42. Okay. Yes, I am happy just to use the mic above my head if that is. How's that? So, yeah, Max, let me know if that sounds better. It's currently up there, but yeah, I need to sort out something that isn't on the table, but also works. Now, George Davis left for a minute. When I came back, I thought I was watching a Joe Rogan podcast. That's, I suppose, quite cool. Yeah, I wonder why that mic was crackling so much. This is the problem. Lapels are fantastic, but they're also bullshit. Who knew? Crowe's blood. Joe Thornhill, correct. I know I'm behind, but I was doing my dinner. No, dude, that's hilarious. Okay. Jane Bob 42 says, the last one I put together, the wood only cost £20. We'll def look at Poplar though, and trying other places than online as well. Oh yeah, go somewhere in person, emphatically. Okay, Kiwi Quarters has come in with a super chat. Hey Ben, you've mentioned a future limited tool build. Would you consider using a jigsaw, including a jigsaw? There seems to be a lot of interest on the little chuggy beasties. Aren't that scary? Thanks. Yes, absolutely. What I would like to do is a limited tool build where I have a budget of, say, 500 quid, and I have to go and buy absolutely everything I need for the build, including everything, basically, from one or two places, a big box store. We could even potentially, I don't know exactly how I would do it, but yeah, go to a big box store, buy everything you need, make the pickups from stuff in there. Could be fun. Buy a hand tools, buy a jigsaw, buy a plane, etc. Everything for a certain budget, and then go. And a jigsaw would be, yeah, an option. Matt Lang, do you decide the slope on a multi-scale just on comfort, or is there a minimum angle where it's otherwise pointless? I mean, essentially, so I've done a couple of guitars where the scale length difference is between a Gibson at 629mm and a Fender at 648, and that's so minimal that it really makes no never mind in my opinion. Now, so yeah, it is a little bit more comfortable, and it does change the tension on those strings to a certain extent, but in the middle of the guitar, you know, it's a PRS basically, to all intents and purposes. That's why Paul designed the scale length that he did.
So yeah, there we go. I would suggest that it's more about what you want to get out of it. If you want to have essentially baritone on one side and Fender standard at the other, you then take that and figure out where you want your parallel horizontal fret to be, and go from there. It's parallel. It's not parallel. Horizontal. I can't believe I got such a mental break with that one term. SS, Ben, have you heard that Texas Toast Guitars is holding their own guitar making contest? I did. Last I heard they were charging stupid money for it and had, after 6 months, a single person signed up or something like that. I wish them well. Alexis Guitars loves the idea of a build on a budget. Perpendicular! Perpendicular is the word. Okay, just text me perpendicular every single day and we go from there. Thank you, Max. Okay. Give it plus 3 decibels on the console. There we go. I think. Let's see. Ooh, Stephen Carey says, "Hey Ben, did you see the Adam Savage restoration of an old wood plane?" I did. It was painful at times, but also I love everything that he does, and it came out fine. It was the painful bit was the terminologies he used. I'm like, I can't be better than Adam Savage at something. It's just not allowed. But anyway. Neil Jokes, aka Scotsman, why is Ben sitting down? What's going on? It's all strange, lol. I am so knackered right now. This whole workshop has, yeah. It's the same thing I do to you guys. I told my wife I'd be down here for about 45 minutes just pottering around and making sure that the bench was clear for tomorrow. This was yesterday, and I've since spent at least a dozen hours in here getting it ready. So, it's all fine. It's all fine. Oh, come on. It's called the Great American Guitar Build-Off, probably. I don't like being an arsehole. So let's just leave it at that, yeah? I think that it's very, very important. It's very, very important that you aren't an arsehole. And that things tend to work out when you aren't. Joe Brown, how do you introduce yourself, Ben? Guitar builder, business owner, YouTuber, something else? Just being nosy. How you see yourself. It's weird. It depends on who I'm talking to. So if I'm talking to another business owner, for example, then yeah, it's, oh yeah, I've got a couple of companies. I've got a factory or whatever. Or other people call me a serial entrepreneur, and that sort of freaks me out a little bit, but yeah, it just is what it is. If I'm just randomly trying to impress somebody, then it depends. Again, it depends. I often actually call myself a YouTuber. Oh, what do you do? And you sort of think, okay, how old are they? If they are, young, yeah, I'm a YouTuber. I have called myself an influencer from time to time, and then immediately laughed every single time. Yeah. Generally, okay, here we go. Here's the actual truth. As I'm thinking it through properly, what I tend to do is say, hey, I'm a guitar builder. We have one of the largest guitar building schools in the world. We build guitars, we build tools, and on top of that, I'm a YouTuber. that's pretty much how I go every single time. On top of that, I'm a YouTuber. Generally, I've got somebody else who runs the company for me, and I get to play in a workshop for a living. It's awesome. That's the whole sentence, and that sort of gives everybody everything. And from there, they can ask, oh, what's it like having 20 odd staff? Ooh, what's it like being, filming yourself all the time? Doesn't it get freaky looking at yourself in the screen? Yeah, it really does. So yeah, it's cool. Yes. Okay, Jay's trucking you right. But I didn't want to say it. That's not the only painful bit. He didn't restore the sole the correct way. You're supposed to leave the full plane assembled before that step. This is true. I think, to be honest, the worst bit for me was the giant shavings he was taking out of the pine. They must have been a millimetre thick. It felt like that. But, do you know, he's an incredible machinist. He's an incredible maker of things. And, I mean, he can't do a one-day build either, for that matter. But what he does is the opposite of me. I will sit down and absolutely obsess over every single tiny little detail. Adam goes and says, that detail's important, that detail's important, that I can just hit it with some spray paint and move on. And because essentially he's building something that is there to be looked at and enjoyed, or sit in a glass cabinet, or maybe be walk around. But a guitar is so much more than many of the things that Adam Savage builds. This is not to denigrate him in any way, shape or form. I'm a huge fan of his work, but he's got a completely different way of working that I am going to try and emulate a little bit during tomorrow's live stream. The big unit. I'm so excited. We started daylight savings time today, but UK doesn't start till the end of the month. So I get to sleep till 6 a.m. instead of 5. And still not miss any of the build tomorrow. I'm looking forward to having you there. Sweetie Guitar says the Texas Toast contest is not at all like Ggbo and holds no allure for the inspired, in my opinion. A $100 entry, and you have to ship your guitar to Colorado to be judged. Nah, not for me. Nor for anybody else. Last I heard, one person had applied. I thought from the context that he'd actually, or that they had gone and tried to set up Ggbo version something. I don't know, I feel bad. He was a mutual fan who on one of their videos suggested that they have a competition with us. Now, we have had the exact same comment over the decades many, many times. But it just happened that it was the right time, it was lockdown, etc, etc, etc. Somebody sent that link to Letha, who sent that to me, and I was like, actually it is the right time to do a competition. Why not? I'm in a workshop, it's lockdown, let's play. But would I have had the thought at that time without Texas Toast? No, not really. I don't think so. I would have just carried on doing the guitars until somebody suggested the same thing in a video 6 months down the line. It was the right time, and it's just a pity that yeah. All right. Now, Peter Israelson said, is there anything in particular I should know and or consider when deciding between building a 7-string guitar or a baritone? No. Functionally, as long as you've got the right parts, the right size, truss rod, for example, for a baritone versus a 7-string, there are very few differences between instruments, in my opinion. I just filmed myself today for the first time. It's a weird feeling seeing yourself move in the display. All the gestures are all of a sudden stiff and weird. It takes... Yeah, I don't know. I've always been incredibly self-confident. which looking back now was a big mistake because I actually sucked at a lot of things that I thought I didn't, which is hilarious. But you know, you live and learn. But yeah, if you go back and look at my first videos, it's hilarious. So it's all good. Relax, chill out. If it helps, pretend that you're talking to your best friend. And just because in the end, well, I am. There's 145 of you watching currently. That number literally changes as soon as I observe it every single time. And I consider you all friends and you know, see? 146. Look at that. It's magical. And only 79 likes. Come on. Yeah, relax. Okay. Casey McDermott, see you tomorrow. Neil Jokes says, definitely an influencer, not always a good one, maybe. Lol. Yeah, my bad. Oof, Alexis Guitars, a build on a budget might be too easy for you, Ben. Maybe randomly pick up 5-ish tools. You can only use those. I mean, that would cause... That could potentially cause some issues. All right, we've been going for nearly an hour. Rob, very good question. Rob Tootle. Is it feasible to build a multi-scale guitar using a standard bridge as the perpendicular fret? Sorry, perpendicular fret. That's the correct way of saying that. Not really. Basically, once you get to the nut, the angle would be far too extreme for your hand. It would not be necessarily playable. If you want to check something out like that, then draw it on a piece of cardboard and then hold it as if you were playing it and just feel. In fact, that's a good shout for anything messing around with multi-scales and things like that. Create something physical that you can do. Cool. Okay, Robert R. I'm gonna have to chase that up now. You should certainly have had emails. Essentially, Crimson has had some issues recently with obviously staffing and moving the tool shop and all of that jazz. But my mother, my lovely, wonderful mother, has been doing a lot of the emails and stuff because we just didn't have enough of a team in place. And she is getting quite stressed, chasing people around and saying, you answer this, etc. It's hilarious to watch. So at the very least, I'm very, very surprised that you haven't had a reply of any sort. Now I will check up on that tomorrow. Now, as an aside, a complete aside, I'm fully expecting to have almost every single tool that has been ordered finished and done and dusted within the next week. We've had the aforementioned ill staff members are all back. We've taken on two new staff with another couple coming to deal with all of these problems. So hopefully they will be in the past. And don't apologise for saying things like this. Robert started by saying sorry to ask Ben, but this is one of the reasons why I do this live stream, is so that people can come to me and say, hey, I've got a problem with your company. You guys did X or did Y, etc. All right. Questions. Question me. Matt Lang says the old videos are definitely not relaxed. No, they were not. Oh, that's a very good point, Lisa. No, you won't. You're doing a live stream. Yes, I will, because I'll be doing a live stream with Talitha, who is... I will remember, and I'll get her to talk to Tom, etc. In fact, I'm going to have Tanya to start the day off, so Mrs. Bunn is going to be here from 11. Then later in the day, Talitha will come in and sow chaos, and then we'll end the day with Tom, who is the head honcho at Crimson, and he's going to come in and do some stuff. I'm very much looking forward to it. SS says, are we still building the Star Wars guitar, or are we building a Lost in Space guitar now? The Star Wars guitar was finished on Monday last week. So, yeah, hence a one-day build tomorrow. I've got a hell of a lot. Oh, people. You want to flex? Do you want to flex? I spent... I think I mentioned it actually. I'm still so mind-numbingly happy. What was it? It must have been Wednesday. I spent all of Wednesday, or a large portion of Wednesday, playing with a 59 Les Paul, and it's incredible. Very cool. I had fun. Robert, I have no idea why that should be so delayed. Could you please send another email, say, hey, I've just spoken to Ben and he says you guys need to pull finger, and we'll sort out maybe an extra bag of coffee or something as an apology, because that is just unconscionable. Now. JB Kraukramer says, are you all prepped and ready for the one-day build tomorrow? How confident are we? We are not very confident at all. I'm gonna smash it out the park. So yes, the everything is ready. I've got all of the hardware. Mark Jennings sent me a set of pickups that's the same pickups I'd ordered, but in the correct finish this time, because I'm an idiot. And yeah. Next question, is anyone playing the Star Wars guitar in front of people? Excuse me, I don't know. No, I don't think so. Rich is the gentleman that won it, and he's is not a gigging guitarist as far as I know. The Big Eunice says, Ben, how long is the lead time on Uncut kits right now? Okay, currently it's about 4 or 5 weeks if you order it now. If you order it in a week, it'll be 4 weeks. If you order it in 2 weeks, it'll be 3 weeks. And from then it'll be about 2 weeks. We are catching up at a huge rate of knots. So yeah, we're catching up, but get the order in as soon as you can, and it's always better. Marston of the Nuclear Village. Hi everyone. Holy hell, I'm late. Yeah, and I'm running low on energy. Derek Keller, I've recently used the masking tape and superglue trick to mount a USB hub to my computer desk. Worked great. What has been your favourite out of the workshop use for this trick? Something to do with my Ggbo tank, actually. They always come with these random things that stick lights on and heaters and thermometers and all that sort of stuff. And on the external side, the stuff is just getting in the way and in the wrong position, and you can never use it twice. So masking tape and superglue to the rescue. Lisa, any chance of a scaled profile of the Bond fretboard, please? I'm afraid not. We are planning, not at the moment. It's scaling that's the issue. I mean, it's a really simple... You can draw it yourself. You can absolutely draw it yourself to scale with ease. It's 1.5 millimeters deep at the base of the fret, if I recall correctly. And yeah. Matt Lang says, I'm guessing Ben's been installing a CNC machine. He's going to log on at 11 a.m, push a button, and then put his feet up. I wish that making guitars with CNC machines was that easy. There's still all the work involved. Extra coffee for tomorrow. Yes, Jeff's Guitars. Abso-freaking-lutely. George Davis says, I rewatched some of your old videos on fret dressing and your evolution from using steel wool and large files to where you are now. I love that you're always reinventing yourself. Thank you. I think that the most important thing I ever learned was that if a human can make it, then I can make it if I'm sufficiently motivated. And I really wanted some sexy guitars, so here we are. As I said earlier in the live stream, I was incredibly arrogant as a kid. I was your classic sort of lead singer, lead guitarist. Just utter douchebag. I was not, okay. And supremely arrogant. And at some point I realized that there's always going to be somebody better than me, and it's probably going to be a sort of a 5-year-old Chinese girl, and that I really need to be open to change. And I'll be honest, I think the first times I ever did it on video, it was more of, oh crap, I've made this public mistake. Well, I'm going to have to be gracious about it, aren't I? And I've grown up a lot since then. So the phrase that I've learned is strong opinions loosely held. I believe in what I'm saying. I believe that I'm right. But if somebody comes up to me and gives me evidence that I'm wrong, I will believe that just as strongly, and I will happily in public say, hey, I was wrong. And yeah, steel wool sucks. It still sort of does the job, but it's horrific. And for the longest time I used a straight edge on the top of frets. In fact, I should probably go delete some of those videos, to be honest, just because they're not really a good way to do it. And then I met my first notched straight edge. I think I made my first notched straight edge, and it was mind-blowingly cool. So yeah, strong opinions, loosely held. And thank you for that. Creve Rice says, you've got geckos. I have a gecko. He was rehomed, Mr. Pickle. He was rehomed because he was given to Sam, who runs the CNC's, well, he's the director of operations at Crimson, actually. And Sam has a young kid, and you can't have geckos and children under 5 because they apparently tend to give them salmonella. And he was wandering around going, who wants a gecko? I was like, I want a gecko. So, yeah, there we go. Right, Bill says, Ben, I bought a new iron for my Stanley No. 4. It's thicker than the original. Will I need to file out the toe end of the mouth to make it fit? Maybe, maybe not. I made a video probably certainly more than a decade ago. It was installing a hock blade in a Stanley No. 7. In fact, that hock blade over there. Not that No. 7, but that blade. The closer the cutting edge of the blade is to the front of the sole, the toe, etc., the better for fine cutting. You do want, fag paper thin gap. So that's absolutely fine. You might be able to move it back a little bit if necessary. Sometimes, with some planes, yes, you'll have to file it a little bit, but it's not actually as often as that. Okay, Lisa says, when will you start on finishing Jasmine's guitar, please? To be honest, I've been filming this this whole time. Jasmine's guitar is hanging up there. I have now, all of the cavities, all of the holes are now silver. I ended up painting them silver leaf, just did not fun. I have got some stuff that I want to do, I think, but basically I've got about a day's work on that, and Talitha's got to edit it. So yeah, we're probably talking Saturday, maybe. I mean, it might even go live on Saturday. We'll see. I'm looking forward to getting back on the. I'm looking forward to getting back on the hand tool any build. To be honest, Adam to remember laughs. Mr. Pickle the Gecko. Yeah, I have funny kids. Anthony Cunliffe, Wood or Anthony? Which do you prefer? Would anything drastic happen if, instead of using 2 pieces of the same wood glued together for the body, you glued 4 to 6 different pieces to the same size as 2 of wood together? Could look funky. Could certainly look funky, has absolutely been done before, and as long as the wood is all dried and stored within the same sort of place for a while before you build it, you shouldn't have too many issues with different shrinkages, etc. Underneath a varnish finish, you would see lines in the varnish through micro shrinking, but yeah, under an oil finish or something like that, you'd be fine. Mr. Waffles agrees, geckos are adorable. He's great. We take him out every now and then and put him on the wall and just potters around the lounge. But yeah. Jane Bob 42, I have not heard of the Twitch stream of the Running Man Z. Who's just as obsessed with watches, and rarely a stream goes by without some watch talk. I'm going to avoid the watch talk because too many people don't enjoy it. But anyway, I really do. The beginner says hot blades are magnificent. They absolutely are. All right. Alright people, well look, we seem to be running low on questions. Adam to remember says, my brother-in-law did a Purple Heart Les Paul with 6 or 7 blocks and it works great. That must also be as heavy as hell. That's heavier than rosewood. Crikey. Tornado Guitar says, I see Brad confirmed. Who else will be in the Invitational? I haven't asked everybody that I want to ask, actually. Joe Thornell says, also the shots answer was cut out. Could you repeat? Was that... Okay, I'm going back in the chat at this stage. So the shots answer was that... basically, the Stunning Flame shots are enough to mix 2 or 3 of those bottles to whatever colour you want, depending on what colour you want. And we are trying to save shipping on people getting exactly that colour. Therefore, putting it in the bottle means we put in exactly the right amount. You pour in the water, and you've got the colour that we have spent, in some cases, 3 or 4 years perfecting. On top of that, I love the look of the labels and all that jazz. You don't want to have just random big bottles that you buy that, don't look as cool. They look cool. And yeah, that was my answer earlier. Joe Brown says, you mentioned a 1,200 quid, circa 1,200 quid production guitar before. What can you share? It's just something that I feel very strongly about. We struggle because we've got essentially 4 or 5 different businesses, hell, probably 6. We build guitars, we teach people how to build guitars, we manufacture or resell guitar building tools and the like. Now the kit guitars, that's actually not really part of the guitars, so we build kit guitars. That's a completely different business really. The templates goes in the tools. We've got the vintage tool shop, and we've got the YouTube channel. So that's 6 completely separate businesses, really. Now on top of that, I've got great guitar build-off as well, which, while it's not being run as a for-profit organisation, it's essentially a relatively large. It's a business. It takes time and thought. So the problem is that something's got to give, and I had to sit down and say, okay, we are going to fix the school. It's the biggest part of our business. Teaching people in person is massive for us, and it's something I'm passionate about. So we fixed that, and we're fixing the tools, and we are adding new tools at a fast rate. If not, we've got there's some really cool stuff coming. Some really cool stuff coming imminently, actually. A new way of doing inlays. A new way. Anyway, there's still cool stuff coming. The next thing for me is working on the guitars. I really want to grow the guitar business so that you'll be seeing guitars around the world in shops everywhere. And part of that is a more budget range. This was the main reason why I bought the big CNC. The kit business, fine, but with this new machine, I can make guitars fast enough that we can do it cheaper. So yeah, there we go. Also, will crimson straps become a thing? I would love to do crimson straps at some point. We tend to sell, whenever we've added something like that into the range, we've only sold one or two because most of the people are not players. That's wrong. In a guitar shop, you sell straps all the time because guitarists go in there. At Crimson, most of the time people aren't thinking about straps. Even if they need one, they're thinking about truss rods and fret wire, which is all now available, and the like. But yeah. Morgan Kelsey says, hi Ben, how will the raffle work for the Ggbo professional category? What do tickets cost? How is shipping handled? Okay, so the shipping is going to be paid for by the winner, i.e. the winner will buy, say, 10 tickets, knowing that wherever they live in the world, they are going to have to cover the cost of the shipping and the customs fees for that, and we'll make that absolutely clear in the raffle. Now the tickets, I'm uncertain from the point of view of sort of making it more user friendly. I was thinking £1 a ticket, but the problem is that essentially the company Raffle that run this, I was talking to one of their guys the other day, and on a £1 ticket they actually make a loss because they've got a minimum charge of 30p per transaction. So just from the point of view of me not wanting to be an arsehole, I'm gonna, I think, have the raffle tickets cost £2.50 or maybe £5 each. Now the thing is, most people buy 5 or 10 tickets in any case, so I'm thinking probably £5 a ticket. What do you guys think? Anthony Cunliffe, how long did it take you to get over hearing your own voice? I still hate hearing mine back. I love my voice, and I think I'm weird. I've never. Okay, now let me completely rephrase. I was a songwriter. I was a songwriter in the band at 17, 18 maybe. And we went through like 2 or 3 singers who just couldn't do it. And I was in a practice with the rest of the band, in between singers. And I was like, just give me the mic, we need to practice the damn thing. And I was singing. And they were like, well, we don't need to find a singer now. And I didn't believe that I was good enough. It's not something, I just didn't believe I was good enough. And it did take me about 6 months to really get used to the fact that my voice was whatever it was. And yeah, that's it. at that point I got used to my voice, and from then I've liked it. So it's cool. Kiwi Quarters is coming with a super chat. Thank you very much. First one in a while. Ben, it seems that players are mostly interested in 70-year-old designs. Builders are more interested in 8-string Purple Heart things. How do you bridge that gap? I think that we are getting more used to multi-scale and all that, and we're seeing that in shops more. And when I start doing a budget range of guitars, yeah, I'm probably going to do a multi-scale 8-string at like 1,500 quid or whatever, if I can get the hardware, and have that as something that can be in a shop for that sort of price. That being said, a guitar builder needs to be on the side of making whatever is going to sell, so that they can make, oh my gosh, gave me a fright, so that they can make, that was Mark Jennings, so that they can make the things that they really want to make. As well. So I say we're going to be doing budget guitars. I'm going to be building Strats and Tellys. I'm going to be building Strats and Tellys, or my ideas of them, because it's going to sell. And frankly, I want to, make lots of guitars. We can't all be PRS. We can't all come up with things that are absolutely original that people will buy. I hope that eventually my other designs do sell as well. I really like Boba Fred. I think that could be great. All right. Turn you up a little bit there. That's Creever. Okay, question here from Garage Master Guitars. Hi Ben, I bought some Panga, whatever that is, from Yandles last Tuesday. Is it okay for fretboards? Thanks. I think so, yes. 922. Customers da 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 da. Do do do. I shouldn't be reading those things on screen. Andrew Monday has just said 79p for with no question. If you have a question, send us a question. I need questions. Wolf of Guitar says, in your first videos you hate CNC with a passion. I really did, and now I am absolutely of the opinion that to run a modern business, you can't do it without one, really. You could use pin routers, of course, but then you have to be aware that somebody's going to cut their fingers off at some point. They're not fun. Yeah, I've grown up. I do remember I remember filming that video, and in the back of my head, going around the whole time, was me thinking, I'm never going to be able to afford to buy a CNC machine. I'm never going to be able to afford to buy a CNC machine. I need to promote hand building because that's what I do, because I can't afford a CNC machine. Yeah, I was wrong. Sweet Tea Guitars is thinking of calling out of work to watch the live stream tomorrow. My daughter also just gave birth 2 hours ago. New baby boy. Hashtag always be learning. Congratulations to your daughter. I think taking a day off to spend time with her is probably a better idea than spending it with the stream. You can watch the stream afterwards. The Big Unit says, have you ever seen the Mayonnaise puzzle top bass or the Ibanez puzzle top guitar? Very cool use of dissimilar woods. I have, absolutely. James Ulba, see previous question. If it's in the morass of the live chat, I am never going to find it. If you could copy and paste and add it to the bottom of the chat, I will have a look. James Ulba, okay. Hugh McKay, were you pooping yourself about selling your first instrument? I have fears about putting anything out there I've done. I think, yes, always. And I think I always will. It's just scary. No matter how many guitars I've built, I always have things that I would like to do better. And I mean, that's how you get better, feeling like that. So yeah, it's just one of those things. You're just gonna have to get used to it, essentially. Where are we? James Oliver, I'm looking for James. Crikey. Minimum body thickness at the heel for a bolt-on using ferrules instead of a neck plate. Basically, there's very little difference between ferrules and neck plate, etc. In either case, I would say the minimum distance needs to be around about 10 millimeters or so. So just under half an inch if you're in Imperial. The Real Wonky Dog, sorry for late joining. I tried my first biltong yesterday. Tesco brand, not a fan. Any better brands? Yeah, go to an actual... the Tesco stuff's horrific. Go to a butcher that makes it. There are a couple of South African shops who sell online and they sell the real stuff. So yeah. Shinto, one of the best tools ever for the job in my opinion. I love it. I can do belly and arm calves as well as shape the neck. That was an answer to somebody else, but yes. Could pine work as a neck material? No, it's not strong enough even once you've put carbon fibre, stiffening rods, etc. in. The only time I would ever use pine as a neck is if it was being skinned entirely in carbon fibre. Yes, sweet tea, I am absolutely cool with you calling out of work. I don't think your boss would take me saying that as a valid excuse, but if I see you in the stream, that would be quite funny. Andrew Monday, Ben, thank you for your content. Great content, loving the builds. Thank you very much. You have inspired me to buy my first electric guitar, also a cheap one to learn. One day having to come to Crimson to create an awesome one. We would love to have you. Justin Crowley says, I'm ordering the parts for my first 2 scratch telly builds. What tools from your shop would you say are essential? I'm tempted by the Luthiers starter toolkit, but what about rasps and files for the body and neck? That was the question. Shinto saw rasp 100% is absolutely essential, and the larger curved Iwasaki rasp is also amazing. They have different needs. The Iwasaki is more like a plane, more like 1,000 planes than anything else. Yeah, I don't think we do hand-stitched rasps at the moment, but I would also say from somewhere get a long half-round hand-stitched rasp, medium grade, something like that. Now, yes, the essential fret leveling and dressing toolkit is absolutely essential, and if you can, over and above that, the Luthiers startup toolkit is a really, really good place to start. And thank you very much for your support. David Spears, Ben, at £5 I will probably only buy 1 or 2 tickets. At 1 or 2 I will buy more from different builders, therefore supporting more builders. That's a very good point. Okay, so this is the thing. And we want people to support more builders. It's not just an individual thing. Yeah, I think we'll have to put it at £2 or £2.50 maybe, something like that. But I also really don't like the idea that I am indirectly losing another business money. Essentially, it's a difficult one. But thank you, David. That's a very good point. Everybody's saying congratulations to the Sweet Tea family. Stephen and Max both forwarded the James Elba question to me at the same time. That's excellent. All right, now guys, I'm running low on energy, so I'm gonna think about calling it a night. Actually, a little bit earlier than I usually do. Tomorrow is going to be a long one. Yes, if you have any questions that you want me to answer quickly, get them in now. I'm going to start winding things up. Paul Needs, your wife was in the chat earlier. Paul Needs says, isn't this guitarist / builder the same as bands have faced for years? Punters mostly want to hear good covers of stuff they know. Bands want to do their own stuff. Have to find the compromise. That's a very good point. You have to find the compromise. And the compromise for me is not... I don't give two hoots about the shape. I give two hoots about the quality of the build and the functionality of it. So, you know, I will have an all-access neck rather than the sort of behemoth that Fender Strats still have for the most part, etc. It's the fine improvements and stuff that really get me going. But yeah, good shout. Vulcan Essence says, hi Ben, does simplistic plastic packing tape work as an epoxy delimiter? You use a red kind of tape which looked like packing tape. Cheers. Simple packing tape is not necessarily strong enough, but good quality packing tape I have used before, yes. But the red stuff I use, it's called tuck tape, I think, and Crimson bought it and they had like 5 or 6 rolls of it floating around, and I found out later that they'd spent 20 quid a roll plus because it's the stuff you use. I don't know, it's insane. Matt Lang says, I wonder why bass players seem to be more accepting of current body shapes. It's because they are slightly out of the limelight, and it's sort of a case of doing anything to take a little bit away from the bloody guitarist who's always up at the front. I don't know. Bass players in general are more relaxed and cool and up for experimentation and learning new stuff. Yeah, it's cool. David Glynn Guitar says, before you go, hey Ben, would a tenor guitar be in the realm of the freestyle class? No, it's still a guitar, tenor, baritone, multi-scaled, etc. It's still essentially the same construction techniques as a guitar. Freestyle is more as an electric guitar. If it's acoustic, yes, freestyle. If it's electric, it's still in the scratch build category. Peter Israelson says, when is a good time of year to come for a 1-week course in regards to booking? We run them throughout the year. We have just taken on another teacher with a third, I hope, coming on stream soon. We have got spaces throughout the year, so really we'll work with you. Just let us know. We, at the moment, are doing 1 week on, 1 week off for... So you've got the 5-day course running 1 week and the 6-day running the next, and they go like that. Eventually we'll have all sorts of things going on with multiple teachers running different classes. So yeah, as it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Yeah, £1.50. I think for Ggbo I'm probably just going to have to keep them at £1, but I'll talk to the company. I do think most people still do buy 2, 3, or 4 tickets, and it's fine. Jason says, I'm 17 years old and I just finished building my first guitar. It's a modified Flying V. However, I had a lot of trouble coming up with a headstock design. Any tips to help with headstock design? Start with something that exists and modify. Don't start from scratch. Once you've got your straight string pull and your hole positioning taken from a template or a plan printed off the internet or something like that, once you've got the position of the tuners and you know that those are in the right place, then you can experiment. Half of the hassle and the trouble and the nonsense is getting that all in the same place, in the right place. Okay. Alrighty then. Bum 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 bum. Graham B says, "Have we got a name for the guitar tomorrow?" It's not the yes, we do. I can't. It's written down on the. Let me. Oops, that's my mum. I am going to be calling this a day. In a minute. Let's move over to standing up. In any case, because I think that's where the off button is. I do feel so much better standing up, I must say. Okay. Toddzilla, I think we're calling her. For some reason. Okay. I'm going to call it a day. Look, everybody, I really appreciate your support. Tomorrow is going to be one hell of an experience. Yeah. It's going to be fun. And I hope that you are there. In the meantime, yeah, have a good 12 hours or so. 13 hours and 22 minutes. Ah, fun times. I should call it the... No, seriously, one day. Yes, Jeremy, I think that's a call. All right, everybody, I love you. I will see you... I'll see you tomorrow morning. If not, I'll see you next week.